people do not know that the requirements for success in professional practice is totally different from those required to succeed as a business person. Yes, there are points of convergence, but the fundamental principles are different. On this episode, the Talk TV crew engages with a Nigerian who was successfully transited from professional practice into entrepreneurship. Welcome, Dr. Habib Olamitoye, medical practitioner, philanthropist, and business coach. You're welcome, Dr. Olamitoye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for joining us on the program.
Thank you.
It's a well-known fact that our educational system tends to prepare us for career progression rather than entrepreneurial endeavors. Yet you were able to successfully transit from a professional, to be specific, a medical doctor, to an entrepreneur. Tell us what the journey was like.
Thank you very much. Just like you mentioned, in school, we majored on theory. We were prepared to work in a white-collar job, to take salaries. We were prepared to work in an existing business system. We were never taught how to build a business system. I started off as a doctor that owned a private medical practice. Gradually, I had plenty of patients, and then my staff strength increased. I realized I was going to know more about personnel, about people development than about medical treatment. You understand? So along the line, I began to buy books on how to train people, how to delegate duties, how to supervise people. And then within 3 years of doing this, I read several books on delegation and supervision and on people management. Within 3 years, I was able to free myself from the actual practice of medicine and had delegated entirely everything within the hospital to the people. So I was now able to focus on personnel management absolutely. And then basically the only thing I did not delegate at that time was thinking.
So somebody told me somewhere that the first job of an entrepreneur is thinking. The way he put it is, thinking is the first job of an entrepreneur. So you recognized early on that
it should be the only job.
It should even be the only job?
It should be the only job of the entrepreneur.
Ultimately.
Ultimately. You start by thinking. You see, think and grow rich. You have to start and then do a great proportion of the job. Sometimes over 80% of the job at the beginning. Gradually, you move to doing 70%, 60%, 20%, 10%, and then you do nothing.
So you scale down on doing as the business progresses, and scale up on thinking.
On thinking,
and the thinking
on organizing,
coordinating,
on training, teaching the substance of your thoughts to people.
So that the value is replicated across board.
Yes. First, you teach the purpose of the business.
Okay.
From day one.
Purpose of the business.
The vision that you have, where you think the business place should be in 10, 40, 50 years. And where you think the role of the people there will be in 10 years, in 30 years. Maybe some of them might have become managers. They will know that as a manager, they will have certain responsibilities. From day one, they'll be thinking ahead that they will own official cars, that they will sit in managerial position and have people. And most of the time, these are junior people who are taking their assignment for the first time. So they're going to be conducting their thinking as if they were 10 years ahead, and then but they'll be doing the job on the spot the way it's supposed to be done.
So you are
it's like
facilitating.
thinking big and starting small.
So you saw yourself at some point not as a medical practitioner, but as a professional in business.
Yes, I saw myself as a medical practitioner, private medical practitioner, then hospital owner. Then gradually it's like someone who has hospitals but into other things. The last time I saw a patient in my hospital is probably 18 years ago.
Okay.
And then we have about 14 doctors in 4 different hospitals, 2 in 2 separate states, and then they work. So what I do...
So you have more than 60 doctors in your
No, we have 14 doctors.
14 spread across 4 hospitals.
4 hospitals, apart from the consultants that come in and out of the hospitals. So, and all the doctors live inside the hospitals. You understand? Which was what I used to do at the beginning. You see, part of what I saw as a competitive advantage at the beginning was availability of doctors. Because if you are going into entrepreneurship, you must take cognizance of marketing. And then if you are talking about marketing, you are going to be talking about competition. Because you're not going to enjoy universal monopoly. There will be other people
You're also competing
with you.
market.
You understand? So you're going to have, if you're going to war, there should be something like ammunition that can earn you victory. Some of the ammunition in marketing, they are called competitive advantages. Something that would make a patient or a customer who has been patronizing a particular organization for 10 years, what must you possess that will enable such a person move away from an established company and go to a brand new company? You understand? Those things are called competitive advantages.
How do you go about identifying your competitive advantage?
We sit down, you conduct that thinking. You sit down by yourself and say, what are those things that would make a customer come to me and live where they are?
Market research.
Yes, they call it mindstorming. Mindstorming. When you are doing it alone, it's mindstorming. When you gather people together, it's called brainstorming. You understand? So when you sit down and you say, oh, it will be good to have an ambulance. It will be good to have a laboratory in-house, a scan in-house, an x-ray in-house. It will be good to have competent nurses. It will be good to have clean environment. These are ammunitions. You understand? These are the things that customers will come, oh, this place is a great establishment. It will be good to have good location. You understand? Location. It will be good to have doctors who live there so that you won't have to say, wait for a doctor. You will always meet a doctor in the hospitals. These are the things that somebody will get angry about elsewhere and move happily to you about. Yeah. You understand what I mean now? So these things are called competitive advantages. Once you have about 20 that you can develop all by yourself, then you invite your members of staff who also have patronized organizations like yours elsewhere. They will mention what those ones have that you don't have. And then you list all of them. What are they? What should they be? What could they be? So you write out all of those, and then the ones you have, you keep them shiny, active. The ones you don't have, you set as a priority to have all of them.
Coming up.
You have a chain of hospitals that you run.
Yes.
As an entrepreneur, a group of hospitals. How did you go about your accounting system? I really want us to really talk comprehensively and intensively about the transition, because that's the area where a lot of people have issues. I mean, a lot of professionals today are submerged in the activities of their business. They are stressed out. There are many lawyers, architects, engineers, builders, and even medical doctors out there who are oversubscribed. The establishment they preside over is not expanding, as it were, though
it has saturated.
It has saturated because it's all revolving around them. And I would like to use your experience and example as a case study into showcasing what such persons need to be doing for them to, one, be able to shed the toga of business.
Thank you very much. That's a fantastic question. You start by setting a goal, writing it down that you want to own the company and have people work there, and then you give yourself a timeline, maybe 3 years, 5 years. The starting point.
You still want to be a lawyer or a medical doctor, but you want to run it like a business.
Yes, to run it like a business, which means you will still practice, but you can go on holiday for 2 months. You can go on sabbatical for 1 year. That's what I mean.
You did that at some point.
You see? So the starting point of going somewhere is having an idea what the destination looks like. You understand? You set a goal and then possibly write a little essay about how it will feel when you are able to leave the practice and let other people do it. How will it feel? What will be the scenario at that time? Once you have that well documented, it guides your thinking, your soul as it were, in the direction of where you are going. Because it's been said over and over again, what you can write about, you can bring about.
What you can write about, you can bring about.
Another law of attraction is what you can feel about, you can bring about. You understand? So when you write your feelings, how does it look like? How does it feel like? What will be the entire scenario? Once you have done that, then you set to work. You will have a system of values that you think can navigate the current business in that direction. What are the value system put in place that are compatible with the journey in the direction of auto-piloted business? Because what we are talking about is that you want the business to run autopilot.
An autopilot.
You understand now? So once the value is well understood, it should be maybe about 4 to 5 or maximum 7 values. You understand? Of course, we are going to be mentioning things like honesty as a foundational principle. Honesty, hard work, humility, cleanliness, friendliness. You understand? Things like that. And then ethics. You understand? So once you come up with all of that, because these are things that are teachable, then your next assignment will be, which is usually what they call the first law of management, to hire the right people. Who are the people currently in my place of work that have value system compatible with this?
With the values that you have
enumerated. Who have opposing values? Those who possess the same value can be retained. Those who have variant values, especially the core values, must be allowed to live.
So no sentiments.
You see, objectivity is the essence, because your role is that of a fair umpire, a moderator. You understand? It's like a manager's job is that of working with people and raising their potentials, bringing out their resourcefulness.
So when you're determining those who will form part of the team, as it were, the values has to be the checklist.
There's no two way about it.
The values that you have written out.
If you have the best worker who is dishonest, he must leave. You understand? You see, like it's been said, also they said, to move your organization up, it's all about the people. Because the company can only grow at the rate at which the people are competent. Competent organizations, competent people, you understand? But first, competent people. You grow the people to grow the business. You do not use the people to grow the business. You use the business to grow the people. If you are going up, it has to be all about attitude. It is the attitude, not the aptitude, that will spell your altitude. You understand? So if you are going to a high altitude, it has to be as a result of high attitude, not high aptitude. People can be trained to do the work well. That is why you hire nice people. You can never train people to be nice.
You can't train attitude.
You can't train attitude because people are fixed in their ways. You understand? Rather than the labor, the sleepless nights, the worry, the anxiety of teaching a thief to be good. Why do all of that? Hire good people. That is why 90% of your consideration should be attitude. When you train somebody and he's going, you already have an established role. Everybody knows what that person is supposed to do. So when you are bringing in that person, you just show the person, and the rest will join to say, this is your role, this is your. Even after about 1 week, the person will know that, oh, this is part of my own role. You understand now? So you see that it's like,
because a lot of us draw organograms without actually putting specificities to the roles that each person that will man specific areas will be playing when they get to the organization.
Yeah, if we don't do that, everything will be reduced to theory. Because you are doing all of that because you want to satisfy customers. You are going into business because you want to have good results, which is what they call bottom line. Yes. You understand now? That is how you are rated. And then you must realize that your own company and all other companies providing similar products or services are in competition. Sure. It's like a league. So every day, the way you conduct your own will determine whether you're winning or whether you're losing.
Every day is like every match.
It's like every match. You understand now? So you have to win every day. You have to succeed every day. It's not enough or sufficient for you to say, oh, your sales was good last week or yesterday. It has to be, victory is an everyday thing.
The graph has to go up.
It has to go up. And then you must do You must know what you're doing right. And you keep doing that. And you keep doing that.
And you must keep teaching the personnel.
Yes, you have to be in rapport with all of them. It can be very entertaining if you know what you're doing.
If you know what you're doing. But again, there are other aspects of the business like the cash flow, sales and marketing, business development, public outreach, customer relations, customer satisfaction. Can you please touch on these areas? Because I know these are areas
you need to also train your people on thinking. Because they are people, they can think. You train them on decision making. From time to time, you are the boss. You give them a job to do. And then other things will come up. And then it's an aberration to what they have done in the past. It's very different from what they and then some of those things will come as an emergency. And then they keep coming to you. And then they keep calling you. And then they keep phoning you. You don't want all of that. What do? You just develop a form. You develop a form and say, nature of problem. They will describe it on paper. What are the possible solutions? All possible solutions to this problem.
So you are forcing them to be independent.
Yes, if you cannot do that, the business can't go autopilot. Because they will still be coming to you. So when you give them a form to fill, what are the
nature of problem?
The nature of problem,
possible
solutions. Then they will pick one. Tell them to pick one. It is when they are finding it difficult to pick one that they will bring the form to you. That they have picked, they can't get pick one to pick. After writing about 10 possible solutions. If you do that, they will never come to you.
What if none of the solutions they prefer aligns with your own business strategy or with your own vision for the organization? What do? You step in and give them your own idea? Or you allow them to still run with theirs?
You see, some of the time, there is no right answer for business.
There is no right answer for business.
No right answer.
That's a new one.
Yes. In business management, they say, that is why business is not all about the right answers, because you won't get one. It's all about the right questions.
The right question.
Business management is all about getting the questions right.
All the time.
All the time. Because one answer can provoke even a better answer.
One question or one answer?
Or one answer can provoke a better answer. You understand what I mean? So if what I think is the proper thing to do, some of my people who work with me, who are in the field, can come up with something better because they do the job every day. A lot of them will be better than me in negotiating. You understand? Because I'll be negotiating as a boss. They'll be negotiating to rubbish your achievements, to let you know that
in this area of the business,
they are experts.
I'm expert.
You understand?
So it's not only about delegating, it's not only about specifying roles, you also
train them about decision making to run the thing.
Seem to be saying you also need to empower them.
Yes, you need to. That is what delegation is about. Empowerment. You understand? You put them and do this thing. You can do it. Trust them.
So not a master-servant relationship now, but a coach-player.
It's a coach.
Player
That's why I kept mentioning Manchester United, Arsenal, Chelsea. He's a coach. That is what a manager is.
An entrepreneur is a coach, like Jose.
Yes, we are all coaches. We are not supposed to be playing. We are supposed to let people play well.
In their roles.
In their roles.
You manage, you have an hospital, you have a chain of hospitals that you run.
Yes.
As an entrepreneur, a group of hospitals. How did you go about your accounting system? Because I've met many professionals who tell me that is one area they have a lot of issue with. Besides personnel, the next area they have issue with is cash flow management and inventory and those areas that pertain to?
When I started, my approach was very primitive, crude to say the least. I was very proficient in saving.
In saving?
Yes.
Right from as a student?
Yes. So when I started, I said, okay, there are 4, I call that the formula of 4.
Formula of?
4.
4.
1, 2, 3, 4. I said, there are 4 weeks in a month. So all the earnings of the first week should go to a particular account. That is paying the organization first. The key to saving is to pay yourself first, anywhere. Because if you are going to pay yourself last, you want to spend and then save what is left, nothing will be left. Therefore, you save first and spend the rest. All prosperous people always save first and then they manage the rest. All foolish people always spend first and try to save.
Whatever is left.
You understand?
And more often than not,
there is nothing to
is
save.
left.
Coming up.
Let's touch on business development, because I want to assume that getting the right people to staff your establishment, having the right core values in place is not enough. You must also have something called business development strategy. How did you go about that at some point?
So
you inverted that principle.
That principle.
Pay the organization first.
First. That is first.
And what you pay the organization is savings for the organization.
Yes, that is saving. And then I never touched this amount for 7 years.
So it keeps compounding.
I kept piling and piling. A lot of people, they say, why are you compiling and compiling? That is why I run 4 hospitals, I run a big hotel, I run eateries.
Please go ahead.
Yes. And then I run organizations in UK. I have never taken a loan anywhere from any bank in my life.
So you divide the month into 4
Into
weeks.
4.
The first 1 week,
the first 1
whatever is earned, gross,
all
goes into an account, and that is the payment for the business.
Yes.
Which
The
is like
second
savings.
week, we always have what they call idea bank. Idea bank means all of us working together. What should we do? What are the things lacking? Some people will say the door to theater is faulty. Other people will say there's no cover for the WC. Some people will say there's no pump in the suctioning pump in the theater. And then we'll say whatever we can use all of that to do for the second week, we manage.
So you prioritize based on available.
Yes, we have idea bank.
Because what a lot of us will do is whatever comes in, we use to take care of the immediate needs.
No,
now
there
you're
must
saying
be a
that
system of organization.
A
A particular policy that is systemized is better than no policy. You understand? So the second week, I call that crude. This second week, I did use for renovation. You understand? Then the third week, we use to buy stocks, drugs, medicine, and all the things needed in the hospital.
Separate account.
Separate account for that. You understand? Then the last week, we pay salary.
That's the running cost.
That is all of that. Then some of the time, we have 2 or 3 days after. That one I kept in my pocket to eat. At that time, I had never inherited anything like the burden of a family. I had no wife, no children, no forceful commitment for 7 years that I started my hospital in Lagos. It was after 7 years that I got my wife, or I saw my wife and did marriage. At that time, I already had enough money. That one week
That you were saving up for 7 years.
was what I used in 14 months to build 5-story building.
Yeah.
14 months. If I had not been saving that money since that time, at that time that I wanted to start the building, I would need a loan.
True.
So I took the loan from myself.
Now, did someone teach you this principle? You said it's crude. I mean,
If you keep reading business books every day, you see, when you read books, you will find something useful there to apply to what you are doing.
whether in the immediate or...
Oh, yes, there'll be some that will be there as reservoir of knowledge. There are some that are ripe for application. You just apply that, and then you apply that. And these are books written by intelligent people. These are books written by successful people, people who run chains of businesses, people who are legend in their own field. You understand? You climb on the shoulders of giants. You see further than them. You see, if you do not have the time to learn what you're supposed to know, then you have the time to correct the mistakes.
I didn't get that.
If you don't have the time,
You don't make out time.
if you don't have the time to do it first time, to learn how to do it first time,
And get it right.
and get it right first time, you will be forced to create time to correct errors and mistakes. So the thing to do is to find time. Nobody ever has time.
So the time you make out to read, which will help you to prevent mistakes, is like an investment. Is that what you're saying?
You see, I wake up. In the past 30 years, there has been no time, even when I'm inside an aircraft on night flight, I wake up 4 o'clock.
4 o'clock.
If I'm in America, if I'm in Canada, China, I've been to these places, South Africa, anywhere. If I'm anywhere I am, once their time is 4 in the morning, most of the time I don't suffer this thing they call jet lag. When it's time to sleep in America, I will sleep.
Let's touch on business development, because I want to assume that getting the right people to staff your establishment, having the right core values in place is not enough. You must also have something called business development strategy. How did you go about that at some point?
You see, one thing I can derive from that is some of the time I always let people replace or substitute that word business for marketing. You see, business is marketing. Every other thing is commentary.
Every other thing is
It's commentary. Business is marketing. You understand? Marketing is like priming a pump. When you prime a pump quickly, business will go quickly. When you prime a pump slowly, the business will go slowly. When you stop priming a pump, business will stop going. You understand? Marketing, business is all about marketing. And that was why I said there are 2 things why you have to do that you have to do when you're running business. 1, to create new customers.
Create new customers.
2, to keep new customers. Anything that will let you do all of that is called strategies. You understand what I mean? So it demystifies all those terminology called business strategies. There's nothing like that. Those things are simple. Great things are simple.
So people should not allow the terminologies
To
and concepts
confuse you.
to become a word
Yes.
that keeps them away from the
Yes.
actual practice.
You
of those
understand now?
principles.
What are you going to do? And then you can develop what they call the P's of marketing. the P's of marketing. So there are many.
Yes, it used to be 4, but now there are so many.
There are so many. My famous professor, the best professor I have in marketing, in business, when I was doing my MBA, is called Professor Gaba.
Professor Gaba, there are two Professor Gaba that I know, the husband and the wife. Which one of them?
The wife.
Professor Kase Garba.
Yeah, Kase, yes. You see, in MBA, she said, there are 4 P's, but when you go out, you may have to develop other P's. You understand now? And then, in practice, when we came out, we now discovered that beyond the P of promotion for your business, product, and place, and price, which are the fundamentals, we now came out and began to have thinking tools. We now discovered that the major strategy is people. People, their training, the way of assessing them, the way, you see, a business place where the mood is good, where everybody is excited, is happy, is very contagious. Customers come and they pay where they feel glad. Nobody ever pays when he feels sad or where he's made to feel sad. You understand?
So repeat patronage is a function of emotions.
It is. God bless your life. It's a motion of emotion, creating positive emotion in the business place.
Even though what you're selling is a physical object sometimes.
Yes, people buy for emotional reasons more than they buy for logic. They just use logic to explain the emotions.
This is awesome.
You understand now? So, when we came out, we began to look at other thinking tools for strategies, the people. And then we begin to look at the procedures. Some of the time, procedures will encourage queuing. And you know, queuing, kill business. People don't want to walk, to come in, and then have to queue and see so many people there that have not been attended to. You understand? You have to fine-tune the procedures to encourage effective, accelerated attention to customers.
So you seem to be talking about value chain here.
You understand? You see, all these things start with P.
The chain.
People, yes.
That the various segments of the business operate as a chain. That's what you seem to be telling us now.
It's synergy.
And you must understand which was the weak chain and address it. So
it's
follow
a chain,
the procedure
so that
the synergy can be.
You break at the point of the weakest chain. You understand now? So other P of power supply is energy for the business. You understand? Is it constant? You owe it a duty, because when the light is bright, the mood is good. You understand? You must understand all of this.
So the psyche of the workers and everyone involved in the business is directly proportional to the energy available in terms of electricity.
In terms of electricity. When the business place is cool, or when the business place is hot, you understand? You begin to see
the temperature, a cool temperature enhances productivity
and resourcefulness. Yes, thank you. Yes, thank you.
And somebody also told me that even the color with which you paint your business premises goes a long way in determining.
Is it dull? Is it exciting? Is it captivating? You understand now?
So electricity is also part of business.
It's a major role.
Business strategy.
You understand? So these are things you have to look at, all the thinking tools, and then develop strategies based on them.
Which will then, of course, be an offshoot of your values, your mission, and your vision.
Yes. So invariably, when you are succeeding, it becomes complicated for the people come in to compete with you, to copy what you're doing. They can't copy because there are so many other things that go along with what they want to copy.
That are working in integrative cooperation. So it's not just one thing. That is a competitive advantage.
There are multiple.
So it's difficult for them.
Also run an idea bank. What you are doing right is amenable to alteration and improvement.
Yeah.
You understand? And then when they come, they just look at the frozen spot of what you're doing now. And business, is dynamic. You understand? It's not static. It keeps changing, keeps improving, keeps getting better.
But what
they call Kaizen. Kaizen means
Japanese.
It's a Japanese word, meaning good change. Good change means that you look at where you want. They call that in line of sight. What you see when you look up. How do you improve it every day? How do you rotate your staff members? Because rotation is a job of the manager. Somebody who is in the laundry in a hotel might be more effective in housekeeping. You understand now? And then you will get inferior quality of results if you let him stay permanently in the laundry. You rotate people, you reorganize people. That is why in the field of play, some people who are hired as a striker can be very good in the midfield. You understand?
Who started their football playing career as strikers, who ended up as goalkeepers.
As goalkeeper, you understand what I mean? And they become outstanding goalkeepers.
So you need to also...
The manager should be able to see the creativity, the talent, the raw talent, and then develop that.
And that you can achieve more when you have a system of rotating roles played by...
You will know where people can have their maximum input.
Doesn't that have some attendant risk?
Risk is a calculated risk.
Coming up.
I've heard people say, if you don't have the skills of thinking, hire someone to think for you as an entrepreneur. What's your disposition towards that idea? A lot of people have a problem, especially in our climate, and as I'm sure you must know, there's a lot of people have problem with thinking. People don't have thinking skills. A lot of people get bored easily. When you ask them to think, after 2-3 minutes, they want to just get going. How do you redirect the energies of such persons?
In order to think, because we're talking about the mind.
The discipline of thinking. How do you acquire it?
Yes, if you're going, it's just like the way you acquire muscular, physical effort by training the muscles. When you train the muscles, the first few days is very difficult. There is pain, there is sluggishness, there are mistakes. But after some time, they become proficiency and excellence and perfection. You understand? What is worth doing at all is worth doing poorly at the beginning.
What is worth doing at all is worth doing
poorly at the beginning. You understand? Like they used to say that every star was once a disaster. You understand? You have to make mistakes on your way to proficiency and efficiency. So when you look at starting to think, you have to be able to also do the exercise of the mind, and that is where reading comes in. Somebody who is not reading every day can't use the mind. The mind is the thinking apparatus. It's permanently switched off.
Permanently
switched off. It's an apparatus. It's just like the apparel we use at home, electrical apparatus.
Like a television.
It's a television. It's switched off permanently. To switch it on regularly, you have to train the switch. You have to grease the switch to come on easily. Sometimes to come on permanently.
So the mind has to be trained.
Trained, and then you have to read books that trains the mind to think. Books about business. If you're going to be thinking about business, you must train the mind about business principles, about business rules, about the laws of governing business. There are several laws. The Pareto law, the law of hiring, the laws of dehiring, the laws of finance, the laws of control, the law of administration. You must know all of this. If you don't know all of this, then you are somehow pressed down. There's a bar on you, on your head, to the degree that you know about a particular law. If you are operating a law and it's making you to succeed, you will get to a point where you will need another law to go to the next level.
So what you read is what you think and how you
think. It is the thinking that will bring vigor to
because
your
I was
mind.
listening to Magic Johnson, former American basketball success story, Magic Johnson, and he said when he conceived the idea of going into business to become an entrepreneur, he sought out role models. Yes. He mentioned a particular name of someone that he went to and told the person, please teach me how to be a successful businessman like you. He said the first words that the gentleman uttered to him was, what do you read?
You understand?
And he said, no, I mean, what business books or journals do you read?
Yeah, do you read?
When you pick up a newspaper, which page do you go? He said he told the gentleman that he goes to the sports page, and the man said, no, you want to be a successful businessman, the starting point is for you to start reading the business
books, you understand?
What are the business write-ups in newspapers, journals, and books? Which business media do you expose yourself
to?
That's the first, and I learned something from there. Oh, really? So, to think well in business about
you
business,
have to know the rules you are going to apply. It's the same thing as geometry. The geometry will broaden your mind. You understand? It's the same thing with business. The more you know, the more you grow. The more you learn, the more you earn.
So what about those who say, I've heard people say, if you don't have the skills of thinking, hire someone to think for you as an entrepreneur. What's your disposition towards that idea?
Well, you will not come to a position you will not carry the capacity to hire somebody to think unless you can think.
So what's the place of consultants?
Yes, consultants come in. You know, when you have a coach in the field of play,
yes,
you bring a coach for shooting coach. You bring a coach for goalkeepers. You bring a coach for... Consultants are very good in the sense that they are very objective. They will tell you the truth. And then there are certain things that they can do because they are experts in that particular area that you have invited them. They can do a lot to heal an ailing department. You understand? It's like sometimes you may not carry the capacity to know that that department is ailing.
Because you are inside it.
You are inside it. You understand? Which is why reading books and then making your business to run autopilot in most cases turns you to a consultant in the business. But sometimes an additional consultant will be good when it gets to a stage where the business is very large and then it's compartmentalized and then there is heavy bureaucracy coming in to play there, and then you want to sustain simplicity.
So a consultant should not be a substitute for the entrepreneur's roles.
No,
but rather should complement.
It's complementary.
Complementary.
You understand? It's to come there and repair the ailments and then show you what is wrong, so that when it goes, you would not let what has been healed to get sick again.
Good one. But you also talked earlier that you've never taken a loan to run your business and improve and expand your business. Is taking a loan really bad? as an entrepreneur?
Taking a loan, first of all, you know it's a risk. Because it's a risk, you have to say, is it calculated? How do you calculate the risk of taking a loan? At what level do you pay back? That is calculating. What is the rate of interest? Can you afford to pay back at that time? And then, if you do not take the loan, what are the substitutes? You understand? Will the business go under if you don't take the loan? You understand? Because you are just as free as the number of alternative options that you have. You know, sometimes thinking properly, you might not need the loan. You see, some of the time, thinking can help you to escape the pain of loans. You understand? Many people just use money to treat or get yourself off the hook of the labor of thinking. You understand? They just bring money to prevent them from thinking. Most of the time when you think properly and you have all the facilities needed to conduct the thinking very well, the loan that you know is unnatural. We all know that taking loan is not natural. But it is good. It's being taught that you should use other people's money, you should not use your money, you should use other people's energy, and you should not use your own energy, you should use other people's resources, and you should not. How do you conduct that? You have to learn how to do that. Most of the time, in learning that, just like Shakespeare said, that neither a lender nor a borrower be.
But can one expand one's business exponentially in today's world without some form of intervention by way of loan or bringing other investors?
Most of the time, it's a function of how much experience you have. You understand? Because the safest place to reinvest your business is in the place where the money came, where you have cognitive experience, where you have learning curve. That is the safest place. If you're going to take loan, you should invest it in what you know about.
Okay.
If you are taking a loan to invest in something that you do not know about, then you have to take the time. It becomes higher. It becomes a gamble. Then you have to read. In the process of reading, you can as well be saving for the loan.
Dr. Abibolamitoye, thank you very much.
God bless your life. Thank you so much.
We wish you the best.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. God bless you. Thank you.